Hey everyone, welcome to Mystifying Miracles. Glad you're here. Our story today involves a woman who went hiking on the Appalachian Trail with her son. Stay tuned. I came across a blog online, a woman by the name of Cherie Williams. She spoke in the blog about her sister, and she told the story. Actually, her sister did. Her sister's name is Gail, and it was through Gail's point of view throughout this blog that her experience was told. So I'm going to get into Gail's story. Gail is an Appalachian Trail enthusiast. She loved hiking it. In fact, she had section hiked the whole trail all by herself. And in 2021, her and her son Adam decided to hike it as well. And the miracle that happened that day, it occurred the part where they were climbing up Mount Katahdin, which is basically the final summit of the Appalachian Trail located in Maine. Now, her son Adam, he did have a medical condition. I'm not sure what that was, but basically Gail says it required him to stay well hydrated. So he was able to hike the trail, no problem, no issues there, as long as he kept a good intake of water. And I'm sure that they were going through quite a bit of the water because Mount Katahdin, it's known for one of the most challenging parts of the trail. And both mother and son, they were climbing it just fine. They were having a great time that day. But there came a point where they did begin to run low on their water. They did their best to try to ration it out in both of their water bottles. But eventually, Adam runs out. And of course, remember, he has to be well hydrated. So Mom, she decides to ration hers out even more and share it with Adam. So she would take a sip, then he would, then she would, and so forth. You probably already know where this is going. Yes, they eventually run out, both water bottles gone. And unfortunately, there was no water in sight. In addition, there was no cell service where they were. Let's just assume they would be able to get a call out. Because of the part of the trail that they were on, it would take rescuers 2 to 3 days to get to them. That would be way too late for Adam. So the two just kept climbing down in search of water, but they weren't running into anything. There came a point where Adam, he was getting way too dehydrated, and Mom would turn around and check on him, and he'd be kind of bobbing, weaving to and fro, kind of like if you were woozy. So she starts to worry, and the worry, of course, turns to panic. It eventually gets so bad, she stops for a moment. She has Adam lie down somewhere off to the side of the Appalachian Trail, and she says, "Stay here, rest. I'm going to go search for the water. I'll take our water bottles and I'll bring it back to you. You're in no condition to carry on right now." She lays him down, gets him comfortable, and she takes off down the trail. And she said she was running. While she was running, she was praying the whole way. Gail says she was so panicked at one point, running down in search of water, just frantic, that she's, when she's praying, but she starts almost yelling at God, not in a mean way, but like, just please, we need water, we need it fast, or Adam will die. And she said, after that point, she ran quite a bit of a distance further down the trail when she notices to the left this huge rock. It was just kind of there off to the side of the trail. On it was written in blue letters the word water. There was even an arrow pointing to the left of the trail where I guess water could be found. Gail begins profusely thanking God over and over. She can't believe it. Like, this is wonderful. She goes in the direction of the arrow, and right around short distance away is a little stream of water. She was like in awe. So she drinks as much as she can in that moment. She then fills up her water bottle and Adam's, and she takes off up the trail as fast as she can. In fact, I added a quote that she had in the blog, and it said, "God was lifting my legs for me over those rocks." When she got back to Adam, he was still alive, thank goodness, but he was in really rough shape. She gets him to sip on water slowly, and after a little bit of time, Adam kind of slowly revives back to a good place. And eventually, the both are able to hike on out of there. Gail says they hiked in the direction of where she had gone and found the water. So as they get to this part of the trail, and there's the big rock to the left, and, she's showing Adam, but she's standing there kind of in disbelief thinking, huh? And this was because the blue letters were no longer on the rock. Neither was the arrow. And they stood there for a bit of time, she said, because she just couldn't, her mind could not process in that moment the miracle that had occurred. I mean, the letters were just there. So they decide they want to refill their water bottles. Again, that would be the smart thing to do. So they go around the way because she knows exactly where that little stream was. And there was the stream. So her and Adam, they fill up their water bottles again before their last trip down. Gail and her husband decide to climb the exact same trail, the exact same way, all of it. She says she and her husband come across the large rock, and she's excited to point out to her hubby, like, this is where it happened. And she's like, pointing on the rock, here's where the letters were written when I saw the arrow, the whole bit. And she knew that it was the exact same rock because when her and Adam had passed by it on the way down that day the miracle occurred, she took a picture of it, like after it didn't have the blue letters on it anymore. So she compared it with the picture. It was indeed the exact same rock in the same place. Well, anyway, she's just enjoying explaining to her husband, showing him where all that took place. And so the two of them decide, well, let's refill our water bottles while we're here. So she walks them around to the left to where the stream was, and they get there and there's no stream. Gail knew it was there. Her and Adam had filled their bottles there. She had found it when she saw the blue letters, yet now it was just not there or dried up. I don't know. But it wasn't there. This left Gail even in more awe of what God did. And she says that she often thinks about it. And she says, how can one properly thank God who wrote on a rock and made a stream flow? All that just to save her son, Adam. What a story. That is so cool. I don't even know how I came across this one, honestly. When I look for stories online, I just put in all kinds of search words, and this one popped up, and I was like, what is this? It was a one-off blog I'd never heard of. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, that's a miracle. And so I had to present it to you guys. I'm glad I found it. Just thought it was a really cool testimony that was shared in a blog. Yeah, nothing too impossible for God, that is for sure. I hope this story blessed you. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you for being here. I'm going to see you guys next time.